Okay, here we go. Okay, and stand by. Action. Great. Cut. One more take. And we'll be done.
Kind of choose.
I've been making films since I was extremely young. Started playing with cardboard models of Thunderbirds when that was the new big thing on television in the late 60s, and my father could never take good enough photographs of them for me, so I had to teach myself photography to take photographs of my models, and that turned out I had a marketable skill in camera work, so I've spent most of my career as a cameraman. I mainly work as a freelancer, just doing jobs for whoever needs it. Well, I'm sick of producing commercials, I had enough of that. Much more interested in the sort of work that gives you an opportunity to create some interesting images and produce stuff that isn't commonly seen. Nobody, as far as we've been able to tell, has ever made a feature film of Macbeth set in the time that Macbeth actually lived. So this is the first time that anybody's ever done a Macbeth set in the 11th century, which is towards the end of what people think of as the Dark Ages. I've always had an interest in medieval history and medieval arms and armour, the making of and the using of. Been involved in some of the early medieval groups.
Some rehearsals.
Yeah, I come flying down the hill, slide off the shield, end up there.
Rick's sort of down here. His axe is over there.
Yeah, right. I'm going to come through like this, leading with the
But
body.
he's actually
right?
going like this.
I come through leading with the body, and he's going
He
to
goes bang, and then he comes up, bang. He's trying to finish you, and you get maybe another 2 paces back, and then you get your wits about you. So basically, you're just going to come in and go, just coming bang, 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 bang. And then that gets him to bring the shield higher and higher and higher.
I've known Steve Hand since he was 15, I think, and he first joined the old Viking Society of Tasmania. He's moved back to Tasmania a couple of years ago after spending a lot of time in Sydney and becoming one of the world experts in medieval combat. But I've been developing the project for a few years before Steve moved back to Tasmania, and it just was one of those serendipitous things where the time was right and he was suddenly available.
Yeah, so you could, you probably want to push it back.
I mean, there could even be a few.
Appreciate that.
Do you bash him down to the ground?
We had a good relationship on set in terms of communicating what was needed, because we've been fighting each other for decades. We could use the shorthand that we use when we're doing that kind of activity on the set. We took safety very, very seriously. No film is worth anybody copying a serious injury. We made sure that we instituted very rigorous safety standards and we stuck to them. Nobody who wasn't trained properly could handle weapons. We had a bunch of procedures in place for safety. The whole thing was gone through over and over and over again.
Okay, let's advance down. So you guys are running in and turning around, sort of pausing, and
Craig's a step or so behind.
Craig's a step or so behind. So basically, he's your leader, and then Q4 will be us coming in. All right, so in you guys go.
Run.
Okay, Q1. Q2. Q3.
Action!
A little bit bright, I think. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's looking good. Like the way you're looking to the
Yeah.
side there.
When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain?
We were looking for actors that could bring something to the part instead of having to just be empty vessels to be filled up and being told what to do. So I'd much rather have an actor present me with a strong characterisation, even if it's not quite in the direction that's needed for the film. It's a lot easier to work with something than to build up a performance from absolutely nothing.
No more that thane of Cawdor shall deceive our bosom interest.
I spoke to Brian about it a fair bit. He gave me something to read, a piece called Will the Real Macbeth Please Stand Up? So I thought I'd play Duncan more of the way he was portrayed in history rather than the way he was portrayed in Shakespeare, which is not quite as nice a gentleman as Shakespeare would have him.
Go pronounce his present death, and with his former title, greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Working with the cast, I think, has been the most successful part of the process. I've really enjoyed working on performance, and some people have given fantastic performances. Nobody's given a bad performance. John's a very professional actor. It's great that he brings a real air of authority to the character, which I really like. He's constantly surprising me with a different way of interpreting stuff than I would have immediately thought of. He's a very creative actor. He's good to work with. I think he's the best person for the part.
Here and get a couple of shots of running. Now you fall over. And we have to film in an hour and a half. Wonderful.
There's always a difficulty when you're doing a film of this level that you can't afford to pay people. And that does make it difficult to get people to turn up when they're needed and to schedule when you want to schedule. You find you have to do a lot of frustrating fiddling with the organisational stuff to work around people who are putting their time in either for nothing or on deferment.
Last week, it'd been fine, but it's a continuity thing.
It is a big problem, isn't it?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Weather can be a great blessing for a film like this and a great curse.
Beautiful, bring it on.
There was another day we had to clear all the snow off a paddock. Fortunately, we had a few extras that day to help us do that. But the people who turned up were great, and we put them through some very difficult stuff, and they didn't complain too much.
As thick as hail came post with post, and everyone did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defence, and poured them down before him.
Apart from being the first film of Macbeth to set it in the period that Macbeth actually lived, our approach is also a bit unique in a couple of other ways. The general approach is as a low-budget horror film. So I want the audience to feel fear, to feel horror, to feel supernatural chills when they're watching the film. There's a good chance of getting a similar distribution to other low-budget independent horror films and being able to get a significant video distribution, as well as education use.
I think the main thing is that we make a film that we are proud of, and if that doesn't hit the mainstream vein, well, so be it. But if we're proud of what we've achieved, I think that's all we can really ask for.
One thing that's been very important about this project is that it's a demonstration of what we can actually produce here locally with local talent, local resources. In 12 years of government supposedly supporting the film industry financially, there's been nothing made in terms of commercial drama. It just doesn't happen. And there's a large number of very talented, very enthusiastic people here who are saying, well, why not? Why aren't we getting the chance to make this? And so this film is definitely intended as a demonstration of the capacity that we have here to produce stuff with our own resources on a low budget if necessary, but product that is actually commercially viable. So I'm hoping that by doing this there will be plenty of other people in the future releasing feature films made by Tasmanians in Tasmania.